to Liverpool, who suffered their first defeat of the season at Crystal Palace on Saturday. They won't have long to wait to try and put that right. They come up against Galatasaray in the Champions League tomorrow. Vinny O'Connor is in Istanbul for us. Vinny, you got there before Liverpool, who trained a little bit earlier on this morning. What are the selection issues for Arne Slot for this one?
I think it's a pretty obvious one, Rob, to start with, and obviously it's whether to bring in Hugo Ekitike once again. I know that Arne Slot would have liked to have that decision ahead of the game against Crystal Palace, but it was taken out of his hands, of course, because Ekitike had picked up that second yellow against Southampton that saw him banned for that game against Palace. And it ended up with Alexander Isak playing 84 minutes or so of that game, and you were just thinking that maybe that was a bit more than we expected, because before the game against Palace, Arne Slot had said to us he was looking at 60, 70 minutes for Alexander Isak as he continues to go through this, what has been a kind of mini pre-season, I suppose, as they build up his minutes. So you could understand it from either way that Arne Slot decides to go with it against Galatasaray, whether he starts with Isak once again and brings Ekitike on, or indeed if he starts with Hugo Ekitike. But we will hear from Ekitike a little bit later on as well when Liverpool make their way over. But he was training, of course, with his teammates. There's other decisions to make in that forward line after the weekend as well. Obviously, Federico Chiesa came on and had an impact, and he has been added to Liverpool's Champions League squad now. That has been confirmed that he's been added to List A after the injury to Giovanni Leone. The new regulations, obviously, when it comes to the Champions League and being able to replace a long-term injured player with a fit player, and that's the situation that has given the opportunity to Federico Chiesa in the Champions League to be part of Liverpool's Champions League squad. I also wonder what Arne Slot will do with Florian Wirtz. He started from the left-hand side against Palace. There's a decision there as to whether to bring him back into the midfield three. If he does that, it's then who lines up alongside him. Will it be Gravenberch and McAllister, or Gravenberch and Szoboszlai? And you could argue there's also decisions to be made at full-back as well. Jeremy Frimpong, back to fitness, could come in right back. And maybe Andy Robertson, the experience of Andy Robertson in a hostile environment, as it will be with that Galatasaray crowd tomorrow night, would make sense coming in for Milos Kerkez at left-back as well. But as I say, decisions that Arne Slot has to make, and we will hear from the Liverpool head coach when we speak to him around about 7 o'clock this evening, your time.
What about Galatasaray then, Vinny? How much are they relishing taking on the Premier League champions?
Yeah, I think they are, and we got that impression down at their training base, albeit they were very secretive about their patterns of play, shall we say, to the extent where we were locked in a room for a little while and not allowed to leave the training ground, so we couldn't see anything that was going on at training. But what we had seen prior to that, was a lot of interest, by the way, in Galatasaray training today. A number of media crews there, but obviously it was Victor Osimhen. And that was more than expected that he would take a full part in training today as well, because he got 5 minutes or so, or came on for the last 5 minutes or so of that victory over Alanyaspor at the weekend, where Mauro Icardi got the winner. And there were other familiar faces at training that we'd expect to have involvement. Leroy Sané, of course, Ilkay Gundogan. On top of that, I think Gundogan was actually practicing free kicks at the end of that training session today as well. On top of that, of course, Mario Lemina is part of the squad. And we know of his experience over in English football, formerly at Southampton, Wolves, and had that spell at Fulham as well. In fact, his first goal for Fulham came against Liverpool back in 2021, where he robbed Mo Salah on the edge of the penalty area before driving it low into the far corner. But that was back in 2021, as I say, during the COVID time, so no fans in the stadium on that occasion. But we asked Mario Lemina what he felt, or whether he felt that Liverpool would be in a vulnerable position now after that defeat to Crystal Palace at the weekend. And I think it's safe to say that he didn't quite see it that way.
I don't think it's a vulnerable moment to take Liverpool. I would like Liverpool to win this game, then to be confident to come in our home, and expecting a comfortable game. So I think they will be interesting the way they're gonna react about the defeat that they had. So we need to be really, really prepared for them, because it's not gonna be easy. They're not losing many games a year, so we do as well. We don't lose many games a year, so we need to be really concentrated and focus on what we're gonna do, because we're gonna face one of the best teams in the world, and we want to show that we can be one of them as well.
And just before we hand back to you, Rob, just something a little bit random as well, because while we've been here, you can probably see the woodland behind us at the moment. Well, a few moments ago, a wild boar made its way down the slope, just seemed to have a bit of a look around, snuffling here and there before making his way back up the slope as well. It's something we didn't quite expect. We're just on the outskirts of Istanbul. at the moment, but he's a fairly decent size as well, so he's obviously not struggling for food. But nothing boring about this trip whatsoever. We'll continue our build-up to Liverpool Galatasaray tomorrow night when we speak to Arne Slot. And Hugo Ekitike, as I say, it'll be around about 7 o'clock your time.
Really don't see enough wild boar on Sky Sports News, so thank you for that, Vinny. An exclusive to hang your hat on. We'll speak to you later.